everybody, I am Professor Shadmanov. I work at the English Language Department of the Bukhara State Medical University, named after Abu Ali ibn Sina. Today I want to present you a very interesting and having many black points in history problem, like the Jadids in Turkestan. And my presentation especially called the Jadids in Turkestan. So I can explain you the meaning of the word Jadid, but first let us speak on the following direction. I mean the plan. So what is the plan? So we try to discuss the program, goals and objectives of the Jadids first. Second, influence of the Jadid ideology on the socio-economic and cultural life of the Turkestan region. Third, the architecture of the Turkestan General Govermorship of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And the last, if we have time, I'll try to show you some Bukhara architecture of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. So, first of all, what's the meaning of the word Jadid? The word Jadid means a new approach to teaching. What I mean? At the beginning of the 20th century, there appeared a new movement in Turkestan, generally in Central Asia, the present territory of Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Turkmenistan, mainly aiming at uprise the whole level of knowledge, culture and life in this territory during the dominion of Russian Empire. So, if we start with the program, goals and objectives of the Jadids, we first of all should mention one person, that is Ismail Gasparinsky. He is considered the founder of Jadid movement. In the Turkestan territory, the struggle for the national mind, the national idea, unfolded in the form of enlightenment. And these were the Jadids. The word Jadid, as I told, is of Arabic origin. New methods in teaching. So far, new schools appeared in Turkestan later on. So, goals and objectives mainly. The main driving motive of the activity. Second, difficult socio-economic situation of the population. Just to analysis. Then, lagging behind in the development of the economy and culture. And last, double oppression. Officials of the Russian Empire and local rules. These factors stimulated the rise of Jadidism in Central Asia. A few words about Jadid ideology. Initially, it developed as a cultural and educational movement, and its main goal was, first of all, enlightenment, as one of the ways to raise the cultural level of the people. Enlightenment was the ideological trend of the 18th and 19th centuries. Here you see the main representatives of this movement. The common characteristic trait that united all the Jadids was the open support and protection of enlightenment, freedom, the improvement of ethics and morality, the struggle for civilized forms of life, the desire to improve the life of the people. So there were many Jadids who made their contribution in this development, besides Ismail Gasparinsky as the leader of this movement. I should say, dear students, that there was one person who also made a great contribution to this development and even gave his life for this struggle, and that was Abdurrauf Fitrar, who is from Bukhara. That is, he is native of Bukhara. The great thinker, the great statesman, the great educator, who first started to think that the youth like you should be taught not only here, but should know all the achievements of the world civilization, and first of all, those improvements taken in Europe and European countries like France, Germany, and Great Britain, and surely the United States of America. So far, thousands of youth, girls, boys, young people were sent to this country, not only to see, but to perceive and to gain all the knowledge which would be fruitful for the development of our country and state, which is known as Central Asia, then Turkestan, and now Uzbekistan. Surely the goals were great, but unfortunately they were not fruitful because of imperialistic policy of Russia and maybe some other circumstances. So, educational activities. Many of the followers of the Jadid visited foreign countries themselves and were able just to compare the level of education, the level of culture and science in their country and here in Turkestan. The main dream was surely to spread the achievements of world civilization in the Turkestan territory in the fields of education, science, and culture. So, to achieve this, the theater was considered as one component. Here you see the representatives of the first theaters, I mean the Jadid theater. To promote their views and ideas, they found the most effective way out. That is the creation of a national theater. The creation of a national theater began in 1911, 1913, and they became the powerful mass media for promoting the ideology of Jadids. The first and most popular play was written by the leader of the movement of Jadids, Mahmud Bihbudi, and his first play was called Padarkush. In Farsi, it means father killer, convincingly revealed the negative impact of the desire for enrichment, in any way showed the destructive influence of an alien culture on the relationship between children and parents. So, freedom, equality, and justice are the key motto of the Jadids. The Jadid formed a national idea that could open for the peoples of Central Asia in general and the present Uzbekistan, surely the alternative way to create a new state with its own social, political, and economic basis. They were the great successes of the age-old traditions of humanism, love of freedom, and justice as well, which were established in the social thought of the Uzbek people. This tradition, dear students, was reflected in the Jadids program, which boiled down to three main principles. These words are Arabic words, between Hurriyat, Musawat, and Adalat, which were Hurriyat means freedom, Musawat means equality, and Adalat means justice. So these were three great things and main principles. Prospects of the Jadids in Turkestan. The Jadids saw the Turkestan territory as a free and independent state in which, let us say, private property is protected by the state and protected by the law mainly, where they respect any religion, providing all the rights of all the residents of the country. But I should state once more, unfortunately, it was failed because all these ideas were not in time. Let us say they were much before their time and before their period. So far, it was utopia to reach all these goals. And it's now, during the third Renaissance period, declared by our president like the third Renaissance, to make, to be sure, its ground and to build up a new society of future science, future technology, future prospering life. So, dear students, I would like to say one more thing, which is very important, by the way. Jadid newspapers, you know, newspaper are the great thing as mass media, which influences all the minds, not only those like you students, but the older generation as well. So Jadids also thought about this thing. So the Jadids direct their efforts to propagate their reformist ideas among the population. Despite the most severe censorship, they began to publish their own newspapers and magazines. Newspapers were published in all large cities of Turkestan. I can name some of them. For example, Tarakki, which means progress, Shuhrat and Khurshid, which means sun, Sadoi Turkestan, voice of Turkestan, Samarkand, Oyna, Mira, then Bukhara Sharif, Noble Bukhara, Sadoi Farghana, voice of Fergana, and others. The first issue of these newspapers, the first issue of this newspaper was the newspaper called Tarakki. Here you may see the copies of the newspaper Tarjuman and Bukhara Sharif, which was the edition of Bukhara Jadids and Abdurrauf Fitrat personally. Here you see printing of Jadid books. So prominent representatives of Jadids in Turkestan, we may say that they were Abdul Qadir Shukuri, Mahmud Hoja Bukhbudi, Abdullah Awani, Munawar Qari, and surely our Bukharan Abdurrauf Fitrat, and many others. And now a few words about Jadid schools. Here you see the Jadids schools. The Jadids are known for being the first to establish secular schools, the so-called new method schools, where boys and girls studied together in one form. By the way, it was for the first time in the history of Turkestan. The popularity of the Jadid schools grew every year. For example, in 1914, there were 15 schools opened in Tashkent, in which 1,230 students studied. From 1910 to 1915, 73 new method schools were opened in Fergana, Samarkand, Sirdarya, and Bukhara region. What were the goals? Jadids struggled for the moral improvement of the people. They condemned the use of drugs and alcohol, smoking tobacco, and advocated full equality of rights for men and women. Just now. it's just the same. And now a few words about the architecture of the Turkestan of General Govermorship. You may find these pictures through internet and all other sources dealt with the history and development of Turkestan territory, or let us say the Central Asian region. It's possible, and I have also such material. I can give this material to everybody who is interested in this problem. Thank you.